I'm searching through the toolbox we keep at the front of the tractor, and I'm just trying to find the right tools to take off the wheels. And this is not gonna be a fun job.
Some stories begin like a fairy tale, the kind that makes you believe love can conquer anything. But sometimes the same story ends in a silence so heavy it feels unreal. At one time, Laura Farm's life looked picture perfect, like a family portrait bathed in golden light. Every smile seemed genuine, every plan felt certain. Standing beside her was a husband who appeared strong, dependable, the kind of man you could trust with your whole world. From the outside, everything looked steady, safe, unbreakable. But life rarely tells the truth in photographs. Behind the calm mornings and familiar routines, something was slowly shifting. Tiny fractures began to spread beneath the surface, quiet, almost invisible, the kind no one notices until the damage is already done. While the world saw comfort and stability, unseen storms were gathering strength behind closed doors. And then, without warning, everything changed. To this day, the full truth about what happened with her husband remains unclear. Pieces are missing, questions linger. Yet one thing is certain: the life people admired from a distance was hiding far more pain than anyone imagined. Because sometimes the brightest homes hold the darkest secrets. This is not just a story about love or loss, it's about the fragile line between what we show the world and what we silently endure. Come with us as we uncover the heartbreaking chapter that reshaped Laura Farm's life forever. Before anyone knew her name online, before followers counted in the millions, Laura Wilson was just a farm girl waking up in the dark to start another long day. In rural Nebraska, life didn't revolve around screens or trending posts. It moved to the steady beat of engines, the smell of soil, and the changing seasons. Her mornings began with mud on her boots, not notifications on her phone. She came from a fifth-generation farming family in Hamilton County, where agriculture wasn't a choice or a pastime. It was simply life itself. Fields stretched farther than the eye could see, and from childhood, she learned that food didn't magically appear on store shelves. It grew through sweat, patience, and hard work. For Laura, farming wasn't something special or glamorous. It was responsibility, it was tradition, it was who she was. But modern farming wasn't easy. Equipment kept getting more expensive, weather became less predictable, crop prices rose and fell without warning, and the workdays, they were long, heavy, and exhausting. Still, Laura belonged to a generation that understood something her grandparents never had. Technology could do more than run tractors, it could tell stories. So in 2020, while working full-time beside her husband, Grant Wilson, she tried something small. She started recording her day. Nothing fancy, no big plan, just short clips of planting season, fixing machines, checking crops, and explaining what farm life really looked like. She simply wanted people to see the world she lived in every day. When she uploaded her first videos to YouTube, she expected only family and friends to watch. Instead, something surprising happened. One video caught attention, then another, and suddenly strangers began subscribing. People connected with her calm voice and honest approach. She didn't rush, she didn't perform, she just showed the truth. The hard labor, the quiet sunsets, the small victories after a long day. That honesty drew people in. What started as a side hobby quickly grew into something much bigger. Within months, Laura Farms wasn't just a channel anymore. It became a recognizable name across YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. And the reason was simple. She felt real. There were no dramatic scripts, no fake excitement, no influencer persona. Viewers watched her drive tractors, repair broken parts, care for livestock, and talk openly about the struggles farmers face. Her videos opened a window into a world many people had never seen. City audiences finally understood where their food came from. As her following climbed into the millions, she joined a new wave of agricultural creators teaching the public about farming through social media. Even when local news stations started calling for interviews, one thing stayed clear. Laura was still a farmer first. The camera just followed her. She lived on the same land, worked the same hours, faced the same dirt and dust. Only now, the world was watching. Of course, visibility brought opportunities, brand deals, public appearances, loyal fans, but it also brought something less comfortable: attention. Because when you share your daily life online, people don't just follow the work, they follow you. And at the center of Laura's world stood her husband, Grant. He wasn't a background character or an extra in the videos. He was right there beside her, working the fields, fixing equipment, hauling grain, and doing whatever the farm demanded. Together, they carried the weight of the operation. They weren't just partners in marriage, they were partners in survival. Long before cameras captured their routine, their relationship had been built the old-fashioned way, through early mornings, broken machinery, and unpredictable weather. Their bond formed in sweat and problem-solving, not spotlight moments. They married in December 2020, just as Laura's online presence began growing. Both already understood farming, and together they rented and managed Nebraska land, planting corn and soybeans like countless families before them. Grant didn't step into her life as the husband of a content creator. He was already a farmer. Equal effort, equal responsibility. So when the videos grew popular, he naturally appeared too. Not acting, not performing, just living his normal day. Viewers noticed their teamwork right away. Sometimes he repaired equipment while Laura filmed. Other times they harvested side by side. There were no staged scenes, only two people doing what needed to be done. That quiet cooperation became part of the channel's charm. Laura Farms wasn't only about crops and tractors anymore. It was about a young couple chasing the same goal together. Local interviews confirmed what fans already sensed. They ran everything as a team. Even as online fame demanded more time, the farm didn't slow down. Crops still needed planting, machines still broke, harvest season still meant long nights. The work never cared about followers. As their platform grew, so did public curiosity. Fans began recognizing Grant just as much as Laura. People celebrated their anniversaries, commented on their teamwork, and felt emotionally connected to their story. But fame always has a quiet cost. When your life becomes content, privacy gets thinner. If Grant missed a video, questions appeared. If Laura posted less often, rumors started. Small changes that once meant nothing suddenly felt suspicious to strangers online. The same openness that built trust also invited speculation. Still, the facts remained simple. They continued farming together. They still appeared in posts. They still showed up side by side. Despite whispers and online theories, there were no confirmed statements about separation, illness, or tragedy. At their core, nothing had changed. They were two farmers doing what they'd always done, working the land. Yet somehow, curiosity kept growing. So where did the smoke come from? Why did ordinary moments turn into online stories? And how did a quiet farm life become something millions felt connected to? To understand that, we have to go back, before the followers, before the cameras, before the noise, to when it was just two people, a stretch of Nebraska soil, and a shared dream built in the fields. They didn't meet in a dramatic way or under bright lights. Their story started quietly. In July 2016, during a CRC Canada travel camp, two strangers found themselves on the same trip. The camp was designed to bring young people together through travel, teamwork, and shared responsibilities. Phones mattered less, real conversations mattered more. People cooked together, worked together, and stayed up late talking about life. It was the kind of place where friendships formed fast. Somewhere between long bus rides and group activities, Laura and Grant noticed how easily they got along. There was no effort, no pretending. Things just clicked. They shared the same values, the same strong work ethic, and the same comfort with rural life. For Laura, farming was practically written into her DNA. She came from 5 generations of Nebraska agriculture. The land wasn't just where she lived, it was who she was. Grant's past was quieter and less public. Not much was documented about his early life, but one thing was obvious to anyone watching. He belonged on a farm just as much as she did. He understood machines, long days, and hard labor. He knew how to fix problems without complaining. By the time their relationship began to grow, he was already deep into hands-on farm work, operating equipment, repairing tools, and handling the daily demands that come with running agricultural land. He wasn't flashy, he was steady. And on a farm, steady matters more than anything. Over the next few years, their bond strengthened, not through grand gestures, but through shared effort. Early mornings, dusty boots, long harvest days, side-by-side problem solving. Their relationship wasn't built on excitement, it was built on reliability. Little by little, they stopped planning separate futures and started planning one life together. A life tied to soil, seasons, and the work they both loved. Then, on August 14th, 2020, Grant proposed. It didn't feel like the start of something new, it felt like the natural next step in something already solid. By December 19th of that same year, they were married in Central City, Nebraska, surrounded by family, friends, and the same rural community that had shaped them both. But marriage wasn't followed by a honeymoon phase, it was followed by work. Because right away, they weren't just husband and wife, they were partners running a farm together. And not long after that, something unexpected happened. Laura picked up a camera. At first, it was simple. She filmed small moments, crop checks, tractor rides, everyday routines. Nothing fancy, nothing staged, just real life. But people noticed. What felt ordinary to her felt fascinating to others. Her quiet, honest style stood out in a world full of filters and performances. She didn't glamorize farming, she showed the dirt, the sweat, the setbacks, and the wins. Viewers didn't just watch, they relaxed. Her videos became a peaceful window into a slower, more grounded life. And as her audience grew, so did their attachment. People weren't only following crops and tractors anymore, they were following Laura. And naturally, they began noticing Grant too. When he showed up repairing equipment or talking through field problems, he became part of the story. Without trying, their marriage became something viewers felt connected to. But that's where things get complicated, because the internet has a strange habit of turning partial views into full assumptions. A camera only shows fragments. Hours of work happen off-screen. Conversations stay private. Feelings remain unshared. Yet viewers sometimes believe they're seeing everything. So when Grant appeared less often in a few videos, people wondered. When Laura filmed alone, people speculated. When posting schedules changed, theories started forming. In reality, these shifts had simple explanations. Weather delays, busy seasons, equipment breakdowns, time constraints, normal farm life. But online, small gaps can grow into big stories. One comment becomes 10, 10 become a thread, and suddenly rumors feel like facts. This isn't unique to Laura. It happens to creators everywhere. Social media tends to reward emotional guesses more than quiet truths. Still, the verifiable reality never changed. There were no announcements of illness, no reports of separation, no confirmed tragedy. Just two people continuing their work, running a farm, managing content, living their lives, side by side. Yet some viewers searched for hidden meaning anyway. A missing wedding ring in a photo, a stretch of solo videos, a slightly different tone. But farming is physical work. Rings come off for safety. Filming schedules shift with seasons, and sometimes work simply takes priority over recording. Ordinary reasons, ordinary life. But the internet doesn't always accept ordinary. It prefers drama. And so a story that didn't exist slowly formed in people's minds. A heartbreak that wasn't real, a crisis that never happened. The truth was far less dramatic and far more demanding, because the real struggles weren't mysterious at all. They were simply the everyday weight of farming. Long hours, physical exhaustion, unpredictable weather, equipment failures, financial pressure. The kind of challenges that don't make headlines, but test you daily. While the internet searched for tragedy, Laura and Grant were just doing what they'd always done, showing up, working hard, solving problems, and building a life together one season at a time. Sometimes the strongest love stories aren't loud. They don't need chaos or heartbreak. Sometimes they're just two steady people standing in a dusty field, choosing each other again and again through the quiet, honest work of everyday life. And in the end, that simple reality is far more powerful than any rumor could ever be. Building a life in agriculture is not for the faint-hearted. It demands strong bodies, steady nerves, smart money choices, and the kind of emotional grit that keeps you going when everything seems to go wrong. For a young couple trying to make a future on the land, those pressures don't disappear when the cameras turn off. They're there every single day. Running a row crop farm in Nebraska means sunrise starts and late night finishes, especially during planting and harvest. Machines break at the worst possible times. Repairs can't wait. The weather refuses to cooperate. One heavy storm can wipe out months of hard work, and one dry spell can shrink an entire season's profit. This isn't drama for views. It's simply farm life. It's the reality Laura often talks about. Grant isn't just standing nearby for support. He's in the thick of it. He lifts, fixes, drives, hauls, and handles the behind-the-scenes logistics that keep everything moving. Their relationship is built on shared sweat and shared responsibility. They don't divide life into his work and her work. They carry it together. And unlike the rumors people invent online, the real weight they feel comes from hard labor, not some hidden tragedy. Then there's the second job most people don't see: filming, editing, uploading, answering comments, talking to brands, staying consistent. Content creation doesn't magically happen between chores. It takes hours. Every short video or vlog represents time and energy that could have been spent resting. Balancing farm duties with an online presence can be draining, and Laura has been open about that. Some days there simply isn't enough time to do both perfectly. So when Grant appears less on camera, or when fewer personal moments are shared, it isn't a warning sign. It's usually just real life stepping in. A broken combine during harvest will always matter more than recording a clip. Fields come first, crops come first, work comes first. From the outside, people sometimes mistake that focus for emotional distance, but often it's just necessity. Like any couple working long hours under pressure, they have disagreements, they get tired, they feel stressed. That's normal. There's no evidence of secret crises, only the familiar challenge of two people trying to build stability in one of the most unpredictable industries on Earth, all while thousands of strangers watch from their phones. It's also important to remember something about farmers. Privacy matters. Rural families are used to handling problems quietly, not broadcasting every struggle. Sharing parts of farm life online doesn't mean sharing every personal detail. Laura has kept a healthy boundary between education and intimacy. That boundary protects their marriage, even if it leaves curious viewers guessing. And truthfully, the hardest parts of farming aren't dramatic enough to trend online anyway. It's the ache after 16 straight hours in the field. It's the worry about market prices at midnight. It's the frustration of equipment that won't start. It's the silent pressure of carrying on a family legacy. These quiet battles shape farm families far more than any headline ever could. Lately, their life hasn't changed much at all. They're still side by side in Hamilton County, still raising corn and soybeans, still fixing machinery, still checking fields, still preparing for the next season. Online, her audience keeps growing, hundreds of thousands of subscribers and millions of views, yet the content stays grounded and practical. No manufactured drama, no sensational stories, just real work. Behind the scenes, the brand has expanded into merchandise and farm-related ventures, showing careful planning for the future. But at its core, nothing fancy has replaced the basics. It's still two people, a stretch of Nebraska soil, and the daily commitment to make it all work. In the end, their story isn't about mystery or misfortune. It's about partnership, perseverance, and showing up, even when you're exhausted, because the land doesn't wait. And maybe that's what makes it worth watching. Not the drama people expect, but the quiet strength of two farmers building a life together, one long day at a time.